never bang. All the Mars and cars now, whichever get up. Light up my card with a sweet one bliss. Someone flicks me a bag by the end. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah.
What's going on, people? Welcome into another episode of the Stay Weighed In show, presented to you by iBoxingHub in association with our partners D-Rock Clothing. You know the score by now. iBoxingHub 24. Get yourself 40% off. With that being said, I'm joined by my man, Podcaster Ray. We're gonna run with Podcaster Ray. You see the mic there?
I'm just doing a little thing, just trying to think as they say. So mic check 1 2 1 2. Hopefully I sound crispy right out there for the Stay Weighed In crew.
Crispy clear, man. I like it. And I think Frank Warren liked this past weekend. 5-0, 10-0, depending on how you want to score it. Absolutely destroyed Matchroom and has the bragging rights until we get another show between both guys.
Yeah,
it is a humbling feeling. I've been humbled a little bit, which we'll talk about soon. But just give me your overall thoughts of the way the actual card panned out, the concept of it. Was it executed as good as it can be for you?
Concept, brilliant. The card on paper was good. The card in reality was better. Couple fights where I was very let down by some fighters that I was sure of. Couple standout performances that showed, a prospect is a real contender. And then a couple farewell fights that we saw of two guys leaving the elite level. One being Hrgovic, the second being Deontay Wilder. But I'll let you lead the show and we'll get into it.
Do you know what? Let's lead into Deontay Wilder. Chinese power beats Alabama power.
Big bang
Zhang knocks out Deontay Wilder in the 5th round. And you know what? I think going into this, we were like, okay, are we going to get the Alabama power? Are we going to get the right hand? Are we going to get it? And you know what? There was little moments I was like, okay, he's touching, and he's going to let go. He's touching, he's going to let go. It just never happened. And then, do you know what? I'm saying this as well because I feel sad to say it, but there was so much immaturity that led to the knockout. We see it when misfits fighters, when they turn their back. And that's genuinely, when I look back at that knockout, I was like, that's like a misfits influencer boxer. You don't turn your back, you don't drop your hands or anything. And that's what it was. I don't know if he was overly rocked with the first shot by Zhang that just made him lose any sort of sense. But yeah, the knockout itself, it was super immature for me. Like, as much as we're praising Zhang for it, I think when I look at it from a Wilder point of view, and he would probably look back and say, that's an immature way for me to get knocked out. Like, talk to me about what you saw in the fight and, yeah, from Zhang himself and then obviously the knockout.
I think one thing that I've been saying for a long time, shall I say, is the blueprint was put out there to beat Wilder, which a lot of people didn't use before, was that if you lean on him with the weight differential, you can get him out of here and avoid that right hand. Don't get me wrong, I feel like his trigger finger is gone. He can't pull the trigger at all. He doesn't, or he seems to hesitate. He seems to second guess himself. However, what I will say is this: his resume is looking spooky because a lot of the time he was built up as this guy that, won the kill shot, which he had. However, what he also conceded was the boxing skills. And I think one of his biggest issues was the fact that a lot of people have alluded to it. He shouldn't have left, Mark Breland, his original coach that threw in the towel, because one, that coach was saving him. But two, what I think, looking in hindsight, where Malik Scott went wrong is that he tried to make Wilder a boxer. The man is a puncher, a wild one, but he's a puncher, and you cannot take that sting from him. I think it's just a culmination of different things. It's a culmination of time, it's a culmination of mindset, it's a culmination of training, it's a culmination of his wrong decisions to get rid of Breland when he did. Listen, Fury put on a masterful performance, and Breland was out there looking looking out for his fighter. And Wilder went out and made the wildest excuses. He exposed himself for avoiding the AJ fight to face Fury the second time. He made so many mistakes that us on Team AJ have been telling you guys. We had been telling you all these fugazi stories on Wilder, all these, you know, kill shot and the marketing that was behind him. We tried to tell you, like, is there's something behind it. And I feel like this was just a whole culmination of all those years of the criticisms that he's had balled into one.
Do you know what? This is the thing I'll say. Look, I can appreciate there are some criticisms with Wilder, especially when people say about the resume and stuff. I just think at the end of the day, I put it up on Instagram beforehand as well. He still defended, regardless of the opponents, he defended the belt 10 times. He did go in with Tyson Fury.
We are not doing regardless of the opponent. I'm sorry.
No.
No.
Of course we are, because I the reason I say that
if every single time you go to the elite level you get beat, yeah, you can't say regardless of the opponent, because that shows that you weren't part of the elite guys.
He was built up. You was built up. Champion.
He was built up facing people who are not good opposition. And if you look at his resume, unfortunately, and this is what I always say about Wilder, I will always give him credit for overachieving. He overachieved in the fact that you started boxing so late, and the fact that you was able to make a name for yourself, the fact that you was able to become a champion, kudos to him. And I'll never take that away from him.
Right, I'm gonna go this. It wasn't just the champion. In this particular, whether you like it or not, he was one of the more dominant WBC heavyweight champions.
He was not dominant against who? Against who? Against who?
Listen.
Who was he dominant against? Who? What is his top win where you can say Wilder showed? And I don't like kicking a man whilst he's down, but we also have to be honest, yeah. When it came to facing elite opposition, Wilder couldn't beat Joseph Parker. He couldn't beat Fury, which is a tall task for anyone to do anyway. And then you couldn't beat Zhang. So now your resume is looking even more fun in the light.
No.
Because it looks
I hear
like
what you mean.
Wilder's best win is against an old man Ortiz. And he was getting banged in those fights as well.
I hear it. No, this is my point. My point isn't this, that the resume is like, because it's not the greatest, which is fine. My point is people are just saying he's just not great or anything like that. I've always said, if you remember him for his losses or towards his back end of his career, then you're going to remember a loser. If you take the totality of what he was and what he was known as, the scariest puncher in the heavyweight division, and he had that about him, then there's an element of respect that you have to give Deontay Wilder, which I feel like people are not giving because of the fact that, yes,
is for
he's
the
lost
overachieving.
recently.
No, the overachieving is where he gets his respect. Like I was saying before, I will give him respect for overachieving. And when I say overachieving, I don't want people to see it as an insult of like, right, what do you mean by that? For me,
because he did overachieve. He has
overachieving is a brilliant. You see in this life here, sometimes it is the fact is the same way I always give George Kambosos the biggest regards. Yeah, it's because no disrespect for your skill level, you are not meant to be in the discussions or have fought the fights you have fought or been on the stages that you have been on in comparison to others. However, if you take opportunity and you grasp it and you maximize it and you squeeze the juice out of it, I will always give that person.
And I think credit. That's what I mean. I think Wilder's done that. I know people will say he never made the AJ fight. Now, I will say this.
That man
I'm gonna be no. I'm not.
That
I can't
man
fully say
ducked.
No.
This guy, the tweet is literally out there. The tweet is literally out there. He himself wrote it. No one put a gun to his head. He himself wrote it because he had a heated meathead moment and he admitted to Fury.
Oh no, I remember that.
He said, Fury, we should make the third fight because when I could have made the AJ fight, I took the fight with you instead. That, my friend, is a duck because you literally. I remember even Eddie Hearn like quote tweeted him saying, "Hold up, I thought we didn't give you an offer," and that's when I said, "You lot, you're getting exposed, and one by one, AJ's gonna get his lick back. Maybe not against Usyk,
Mm.
but
so what we're saying is
Usyk's the best. We've been said Usyk's the best. And now we're looking
Hey,
back on it.
we're gonna see in
Usyk
December.
versus AJ might have been 1 and 2 in the world when they fought. And looking back on it, everyone tried to make fun of AJ when he was facing Usyk. Ha ha ha! You lost to him.
You say that,
and now that same guy's beaten everyone. Well,
but
no,
you say
he's
that,
beaten
but
the top guys.
People were saying the same thing against Tyson Fury as well. Like they were giving him in terms of you couldn't beat Alexander Usyk type of thing. The same way the same way with AJ is the same way I saw a lot on Tyson Fury, which is why I said that.
Do you know the difference? People were doing it to spite AJ. Fury losing to Usyk was just like, no, you just lost to the best fighter. And we've been told you he was a good fighter. Everyone that team Usyk going into that fight always said that Usyk was the better fighter, but we didn't say it to spite him. Whereas AJ's one is because Usyk didn't have the commercial presence. It was almost like, how are you going to lose to Usyk? But obviously now there's no shame in losing to Usyk because he's the undisputed world champion. So, but we digress. At the end of the day, Wilder, it was fun. I hope you got, a good bag. I don't want to see you fight again. And that's not in the song way. That is in I want you to have your health. Because if you cannot pull the trigger, I do not want to see him out there. And I'm sorry for all the fights that we've seen from the Fury fights he did, but from the Joseph Parker fight to the Zhang fight, everyone has figured out his game. And the guy is still out here training with, what's my man's name? Malik Scott, trying to be a boxer. You can't. How are you going to try to teach a man how to be a boxer 35 plus?
Yeah.
You know how crazy that is?
I'm 40 something into his record and stuff.
The guy's nearly 40 and you're trying to teach him how to be a boxer now. Like, no, you should have taken a blueprint from Breland and try to refine what he is. And instead you was out here. I've seen some of the training of like, brother.
Yeah, it's cool. Look, all I'm gonna say is I think if you judge him for what he ends his career with, then that's not a fair representation. If you judge what he was and what the aura was, then yes, I can say just like
that
the same
is
way.
Not a fair representation. That is marketing. I'm sorry. I know that's your guy. I know that is your guy.
You don't realize how hurt I am.
I know. No. Listen. I had to eat crow when Haney lost. I've had to eat crow when some of my favorite fighters have lost. I know how it feels, but this is your turn to go through it right now. Because listen, man,
we ain't gonna see him. That's unless he pops up. Look, I've always said this. I don't need to see him live. I just need to get the interview. But we digress, like you say. I want to talk about a few other fights on the card. For me, the fight of the night was Ball Ford. I know in the chat we were talking about how Ray Ford just for the first 4 or 5 rounds just fought
for the first 6 or 7.
Okay, we can go 6. I'll say 6 because I think.
Listen, man, I'm sorry to cut you off. You're getting me angry again, bringing up this fight. Ray Ford, and I hope this loss is the biggest lesson to him, because maybe he's gonna go into an interview and tell us what happened later down the line, yeah. But we were saying in the group chat, why is he fighting on the inside with a short guy like that and you're that much like ranged in him? Use your jab, use your distance, use your footwork. You're better than this. And I remember like we can hear it in between rounds and we're saying in the group chat, his own corner is telling him like, are you all right? What are you doing? Fight from the outside. And the moment he started fighting from the outside, what a miracle. He started winning the fight. But it was too little, too late. And I know there's some people out there that's like Ray Ford won the fight. For me, I'm sorry. From even the fact that I know not all of Ball's shots, landed flush, I still feel like he should be given more reward for the ring generalship that Nick Ball showed. Because Ray Ford, you allowed yourself to get bullied by someone who's significantly smaller than you in size by choice, not even by. It's different if Nick Ball was. Don't get me wrong. All credit to Nick Ball. Raymond Ford lost that fight more than Nick Ball won. Ray Ford
I
lost
hear
that
it.
fight more than Nick Ball won. After, let's say, the third round, or the first 3 rounds, Nick Ball stuck it on him. And then I thought, fourth round, all right, Nick Ray Ford, you're finally gonna learn learn what to do now and don't play his game. And I think it's like he wanted to play his game to prove a point, and now you lost.
Do you know what? 2 points I'll say. I completely agree with the fact what you said at the end. He tried to play the game when he didn't need to play the game. Because I think even in the press conferences as well, the way he was talking, it was like, I'm going to divert away from what I'm really good at. I'm going to fight with a guy that genuinely loves to fight. Like, he doesn't want to close the distance, Nick, but he wants you to fight with him because he's going to land the more powerful shots. He's going to land the more eye-catching, vicious shots that are going to be heard by the judges ringside and stuff. Whereas you just need to slick yourself away. Just fight how you're meant to fight, and you would win the fight. I think, to your point as well, I think the scorecards were across the board 115, 113.
113, yeah.
But for me, as crazy as it sounds, I felt like Nick Ball probably banked a few more rounds than what the scorecard suggested.
I wouldn't be upset about it because there's a lot of swing rounds, but at the end of the day, the boxer try box a brawler, brawl a brawler, and it's just like, and you paid for it. And I hope this is a stinging lesson that he's learned to like not deviate from your game plan, because I think what a lot of boxers have learned in recent times, especially with like the Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia thing, these fans do not love you. Go in there and get the win. I'm not saying be totally boring, but being a boxer isn't boring. Go out there, be the elite person you are, and don't entertain these fights don't entertain going against your style unless, one, you've got rounds already banked in, or two, you are that much better than the person. Because now we've seen it from Devin Haney, how he fought Garcia, to how Ray Ford fought Ball. Because you tried to play into the crowd, to play into, the casual fans talk of like, they want to see exciting fights. You've lost your titles, both of them respectively.
Yeah.
And guess what happens after? You're not going to get the credit. Oh, you fought an entertaining fight. Not me personally, because I have more respect for fighters. But then you got these same casual fans that you're trying to impress. They're now making fun of you, saying, look at you, you got beat up. Listen, if you have the tools and advantages there, use them. They're not there for them to be wasted. And I hope that Ray Ford, for as talented as he is, for as much support as he got from myself and others, learn from that. Don't be ignorant. Don't be arrogant. Learn from that. Listen to your coaches who was telling you in the corner, and you can still be great. Listen, my one defeat doesn't define no one. So I hope he's back ASAP, looking good, new weight class. But shout out to Nick Ball, because Nick Ball, for as much as I said this was Ray Ford's fight to lose, Nick Ball still had to go in there and take it from him. And I feel like Nick Ball done enough to implement his game plan to take it from him. And that guy was, to say he was up for the fight is an understatement. He went out there, blood and guts, and he came out victorious.
Do you know what's crazy about Nick Ball? I believe now that's his second Saudi card. So, firstly, financially, the money's going to be there. But two, and this is not to take anything away from Nick Ball, but I feel like because he's been on the big Saudi cards, the exposure he's had in terms of the weight class, in terms of just naturally from a casual point of view, it's sky high, like significantly more than what it would be if he was on a normal Queensberry card that wasn't in Saudi Arabia. So I think for him, I'm not saying that's definitely going to be a market, but depending on what the viewpoints are and stuff like that, the viewership side of things, they may have somebody Queensberry who they can slot in when it comes to these Saudi cards and have him a consistent person on there.
Consistent person and someone that's exciting as well. It's not just the consistency, it's the fact that people are seeing his style and they're going to be like, do you know what? That guy, I want to see that Nick Ball guy. And also, I also want to see if they can do a nice Liverpool homecoming for him as well.
Oh, I believe got that 100%.
He's a Scouse, isn't he?
Yeah.
I want to see, if they can pull off a big like homecoming for him, because he deserves it.
I want to just talk about one fight before we then touch on the final two fights. We talk about stars coming out and having a party in terms of, okay, you've made your name there. Hamzah Sheeraz against Ammo Williams. I think when it came to this fight, I think Eddie kind of put himself, as much as he didn't want to say it, he knew that Ammo Williams isn't going to get the job done. It's just a case of damage limitation. And I think Hamzah Sheeraz, as much as people have known him and watched him, this was that coming out party performance, the captain, the victory, all but securing, as much as Dubois did beat Ergovich, all but securing the fact that Frank Warren couldn't lose. And like we said about Nick Ball, here we have a guy that at the moment can't main event a Saudi card, but if you want to put him just underneath, he's there. Like he could potentially fight a Wembley card. Just talking about what this means for Hamzah Sheeraz in this point of his career, and the fact that I believe he's been with Queensbury since the start. And I feel like Frank Warren's just got that next star.
Listen, man, Hamzah Sheeraz, I was not familiar with your game. I had heard a lot of just big talk from him, obviously as well from the Asian and Pakistani community as well, in regards to saying Hamzah Sheeraz, that guy's the truth, watch out for him. So I'd heard a lot about him, and the fact like you said, it was a big coming out show. He was made a captain. I felt like just from the entrance, he was about it. His kit, he was kitted out nicely. He went in there, and especially I think that was after the Ray Ford fight. And I remember saying in the group chat, I hope Ray Ford is watching this fight, showing you how to use the gifts that you've been given, how to use distance, how to gauge certain things, using long, and here's the thing, using that long distance can be exciting. Using your range can be exciting. And I think Hamzah showed that. And I feel like, for me, I really appreciate when guys have been given tools and they use them. There's nothing worse for me than seeing someone be, given certain ability and they waste it. Whereas Hamzah, he went in there, he put on a good fight, but then also I got to give it to Ammo because
he took a beating.
That is absolutely dogging you. That is DAWG in capitals. Because
no, I hear it.
Listen, there's people you see in fights. There's opportunities for people to get out and find a way to get out of a fight, or find one punch as an excuse to be oh, this feign injury, or just stay there to get hit so that the ref can stop it. And that guy kept on going, and there's a lot of people that are saying his corner should have threw in the towel, which I kind of also understand. I hope he doesn't fight for a while because he's going to need to heal. But even in the middle rounds, what I liked about him is that his corner asked him to change up the approach, and he listened to them, and he starts the beginning of the round just going in, fine on the inside, pap, 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 pap. And I think even Hamzah was saying himself, listen, that guy, he was game, but Hamzah in the end just bided his time.
That level. I think it did show Hamzah is that world level fighter now.
Absolutely. And the fact that he took his time, even though he had Ammo cooked, but it was just it's not right to serve him not just yet. And then the later rounds, even the knockout punches weren't even the hardest of his punches. It was just more the timing, the range, and the right shot selection got it done. And I want to see him in a WBC title fight now. Now that Jamal Charlo has been made champion in recess, I want to forget. I don't want to see Hamzah Eubank. I want to see Hamzah go for that world title.
I think one thing they've got to do is, as much as I don't mind some of the smaller cards they do, I think Queensbury, you've got the Magnificent Seven coming up and stuff like that. Hamzah at this point in his career cannot be on small level cards. He just simply can't. He has to be with the big boys of Queensbury in general across the board. Whether that's in the
UK. Where's he from in the UK?
Ilford.
He's a Londoner.
He's London. Believe he's from he's from London.
Okay. I come on, East London with a man in my book. So
I believe it's Ilford, but my point being is he has to be with the big boys, whether it's not necessarily main eventing, because I don't think he has that cachet. But again, as I said, just under that main event bill. So how we always talk about boxers,
a good co-main. Yeah.
Because I remember he was on one card, And I said this before, Queensbury did him dirty because they placed him so early on that card, where I think it was Princess Yu's son. Can you remember that? And I was like, they've done him dirty because you've just lost the opportunity for a lot of fans to watch your new cash cow in Hamzah Sheeraz fight. So you need to put him perfectly in that type of positioning on a card where your casuals are going to come in, your proper fans are coming, everyone's going to be there, the snacks are going to be ready, and you're going to be watching him at 9:30 just before the main event.
You and Aisha were schooling me on the tune that they was playing after.
Oh, they played. Oh, that's legendary! I did just get it. Like, you've got to play that. You've got to play that tune. But yeah, I hear that and I was like,
I think he got a big shout from the
Pakistan,
Pakistani Prime Minister.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like you said, like, just by that win, just put him in the stratosphere where it's like everyone's looking at him, from Pakistan to England to whatever, and it's like you've got to build that momentum. I think Queensberry will be pretty comfortable doing that. But quickly moving on to two other fights, because I don't want to talk too much about them, but Dubois beating Hrgovic. I know this is going to sound very controversial, but I've always found Hrgovic quite overrated.
Understandably. Very understandably.
Because he won the fight against Zhang, which was a fight that a lot of people said that he didn't really deserve to win. Since then, he's not really done anything. Zhang seems to be the one that's gotten the bigger fights, progressed, even had some setbacks, but then progressed even more. You've not seen much from Hrgovic. And then Dubois looked up and down, but I feel like he's got the win. And now we're going to see what happens next. Because he looks like he's fighting AJ and at Wembley. It's a big step up.
If Matchroom, let me say this. If Matchroom are smart, do not let Dubois face AJ.
Okay.
Don't, as much as Dubois has shown.
Do you mean Queensbury? Sorry,
Queensbury, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking.
Sorry, apologies. As much as, Dubois has shown improvement, there were still points in that fight where he's just like, he is getting caught. And if it wasn't for the fact that Hrgovic just didn't seem in the best of shape, and
both eyes were gone.
And the uncled headbutts, the multiple uncled headbutts, which I thought was astounding. I said I couldn't believe they're not calling these headbutts, but that's a whole nother. It's not even a whole nother thing. That was just outrageous. But if the ref's not going to call it, the ref's not going to call it. He is not going to get those same privileges against AJ, and AJ will absolutely batter him, because if he wants to keep on going toe to toe like that, he will get hurt. But what I will acknowledge is the resilience he's shown after people tried to, put him down was nasty. And I'm happy to see the resilience he's shown to build up his character again. But skill-wise, he's still not ready for the elite lot. He's just below. But I don't know whether they're going to do... I think they're going to keep Dubois and Zhang away from each other. I don't know. And I don't... Honestly, I don't want to see Dubois against Joseph Parker either. For me...
I think Joseph Parker's skill set is too much where it will...
He'll outfox him.
Yeah.
He'll outfox him, yeah. It's a weird one. I feel like, who's AJ going to face? Because I don't want him to face Joseph. In a weird world, it's almost like, I feel like Joseph Parker deserves a title shot.
I know what you mean.
Joseph Parker deserves a title shot, and I'd rather AJ not be the... Obviously, for the pay... it will be in his interest to set up the AJ fight. However, it's like, I think they should do AJ versus Zhang next. But then there's also Dubois. Who's Dubois going to face? I feel like it will be
Dubois. Based off what everyone's coming out with, it looks like Dubois. And then like Zhang may even have some kind of homecoming fight in China.
If that's the case, then, I hope Zhang gets to get the opportunity to have a homecoming fight. That would be great for him. I don't know what's going to happen with Joseph Parker, but I hope he gets a title shot somewhere down the line as well.
And finally, the one fight, I'll be honest with you, I know Deontay Wilder probably is up there with the biggest disappointment, but Craig Richards, I'll be honest with you, you had a chance to really step up here and showcase something. You're the first fight on the card, and because of what the actual card was, being a 5 versus 5, it was one of them where you couldn't miss every fight. just because of what it represented. I'll be honest with you, Willy Hutchinson bullied Craig Richards.
This hurt me, man.
He bullied him. Like I didn't feel like there was at any point in that fight that Craig Richards looked like he was going to win. There was 0 point for me. Actually, I'll pull that back. There was little periods, but he had banked so many rounds that it was like Craig Richards needed to get a KO in this fight.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. I don't know if it's an injury beforehand, an illness beforehand, just wasn't his day. But we've seen Craig Richards perform way better than this. And for me, I felt like this was the big opportunity. And you know how long I've been raving about Craig Richards, and I felt like this was the big opportunity for Craig Richards to put his stamp on, you know, his place at the light heavyweight elites. Especially, ironically, Bivol was on this card as well. And, you know, many would say that Craig has pushed Bivol to his limits the most out of everyone that he's faced. So then the fact that, you know, Craig went in there and he fought the way he did was such a big shame, because I was just there like, this was your moment. And unfortunately, he doesn't have the commercial cachet to maybe get these opportunities all the time.
100%, yeah.
And I hope he can, but the reality is it's looking harsh for him. And it was hurting me because Willy Hutchinson started doing like some showboating at the end, and I'm like, it was so robotic. Like, he's not even smooth with the showboat, and you're letting him beat you.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, like, he tried to run the Ben Whittaker hype, and I was like, what's going on here?
You can't even dance, rude boy. Like, stop that. Like, you can't even do the Ben Whittaker stuff, and it's just like, it just looked. I'm just like,
it got borderline embarrassing. If I'm honest with you,
yeah.
It did. It got borderline embarrassing.
He was telegraphing the overhand. I'm like, brother, you can see the overhand from like 10 seconds away. Like, it was like proper overgraph the overhand like that. And then every single time he'll like draw it back like that. And I'm just like, you're better than that. Why are you telegraphing the punch like this? I don't know what the game plan was. I don't know if the camp was good or not. I don't know what's happened, but it's a shame, because I remember the beginning of the year, I was just like, when he made his comeback on the Next Generation card, I remember thinking to myself, Craig Richards better get a spot on the 5'5". I remember explicitly saying that. And so the fact that he got that, and that he was the card opener, and this could have been his way to set off the card straight, was just like.
Do you know what it was? The way I looked at this one was, bro, sometimes, let's be real, we do miss opening fights on boxing cards. We're like, we can tune in. You were placed as the opener. You were placed before the Champions League final. If anybody wanted to tune in, you were the first person they were going to watch.
This was the spot, yeah.
And you stunk up the joint.
Do you know what? This fight literally encapsulated the whole matchroom route from first Queensbury.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like just a dominant sweep from Willy Hutchinson in a way that we didn't expect. It's the same way that Matchroom got swept in a way that we didn't expect. Don't get me wrong, Amo Williams and Hamzah Sheeraz in hindsight was a very bad mismatch. That's the word, thank you. The Bra Hergovic, I believe, it wasn't a mismatch, but it was more of, it felt like if Dubois is who he's meant to be, it should be a win for him. And he proved he was who he is. So, and then Wilder versus Zhang, I was saying for a long time anyway that Wilder was dusted, and you lot didn't want to listen to me. I'm so sorry about your guy. Commiserations, pour some out for Wilder.
I've seen some things about Bridgerweight. You don't need to fight. Just don't fight, bro.
Stop it. Unless he wants to go down and face Lawrence Okoli and become a 2-time weight champion. Because imagine if he faced Lawrence Okoli and Lawrence Okoli finished him, I would cry.
I might not watch boxing for the year.
I would cry only because I know disrespect to Lawrence Okoli, but it's only because it's just like, how the mighty have fallen that you've gone to this weight class that shouldn't even be existing. And is a strange one, because also the whole weight issue, the fact that this guy hasn't gone over 220 pounds this whole time, it was only a matter of time before messing around the heavyweights and getting hurt. You can't, as much as we like to, marvel at the fact that at heavyweights you got different sizes, like you can't be that build that he is. Like, because the funny thing is, height wise, he matches up with a lot of these heavyweights, but weight wise, like giving up 60 pounds to Zhang, this is boxing. To give up 60 pounds is so significant. And no matter how much you think you've got that bazooka of a right hand, it's just like if you can't land that and your skill level's not the highest, we saw what happened, and it was a shame. But shout out Wilder. I hope this is the end of his career, because I don't want to see him get hurt. And if you're gonna hesitate to pull the trigger, don't go in there, because there's real killers out there.
I was gonna say, before we wrap up, because we have been going for a while, do you think we can see this concept done with the American promoters with the UK guys?
Wait. So do you mean like as in Golden Boy Top Rank?
Yeah, that, but also them potentially, like, say, Matchroom versus Top Rank type of thing. Do you think?
Yeah. I would listen, Bob. I want that Matchroom first Top Rank only because I want Carol first Teofimo Lopez. They better make it happen, or even either Carol first Teofimo Lopez or Lopez versus, even it might even be Lopez versus Haney, or you can do Lopez versus Matias. There's so many ways you can do it, and I hope they make it happen. Even though I like the concept as well of the other promoters that jumped in, even though I think he was a beg and it's nasty and I want him to get off his knees, but I also understand at the same time, when Oscar De La Hoya was begging Turkey, he was, have you seen, there's a meme where there's a guy's like, look at me, daddy, look at me, I'm twirling. Oh my, that's how I felt. I'll find the meme somewhere, but yeah, that's how I felt like Oscar was looking. He was just like, pick me. And even though I want to see Golden Boy enter those type of things, it was just like, Oscar, man, stop begging. It just looks like a beg.
Do you know who should be begging, but they won't because of pride? PBC boys. Because every week, every card that goes by, every Saturday, I read new things about these guys and the lack of money they have and how long they can potentially go on for.
Let me tell you something about the PBC. They're not going to beg for nothing, for the simple fact that they've already been exposed. A lot of them, not all of them, put Stephen Fulton aside because he's a real one. But a lot of their fighters have been exposed that when they came up against other promotion fighters or people crossed the road into their realm, they've been getting beaten up because they got so comfortable. See what I mean? Wilder came from the same model. They got so comfortable with beating, mid-level guys and not facing the elite, that when it comes to facing the elite, I remember someone's just like, PBC's, like, if you look at their record against like other promotions or people that's come across to them, it's not the best.
It's not good. Yeah, no, I hear it. But it's a conversation for a different day. That
indeed,
like I said, I believe Turkey's going to be coming soon for this press conference that we're going to have. If we have Inoue there, are we going to see
Inoue comes London?
Are we getting report Ray?
Listen,
forget Radio Raheem. Are we getting reporter Ray? Are we getting reporter Ray?
We might get reporter Ray if Inoue. Listen, and I love AJ, all of that good stuff, and obviously it's
I said the same thing.
Always rooting for AJ, but if Inoue comes to London, I have to be there. Absolutely, I have to be there.
Do you know what that proves to me right there? Because I said the same thing to my brother. I said, look, AJ, we love, respect, but if Inoue is there, we gotta find a way there. I think that shows he's a global star, and all the Americans that said he's not. Yeah.
Listen, man, they're just hating because I don't know why they're hating. Do you know Americans just hate? Not all, obviously, but majority of Americans are hating because they see the sport, the global grip that they've had on the sport for how many years is slipping, and the world is moving on from America and showing that we don't need America to make big fights. And in a way, encapsulates that, and especially the fact that when they try to be like, who's like in a way beaten, I had Stephen Fulton going into that fight as one of the top fighters in the world. So when in a way done what he done to Fulton, was just like, I'm not trying to hear about who's Inoue beaten, because for me, Fulton is a top fighter in his weight class. And the fact that Inoue done what he done to him was like, it hurt my heart, because Stephen Fulton, I've been following his career for a while. That's my guy. But we digress. If Inoue comes to London, and we are rolling today, and you might see Reporter Ray.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Listen, guys, we're going to wrap up today's episode. It's been a bit of a long one. Listen, go back, watch all the other content as well across the channel as well. Ray, we're going to leave final words from yourselves just quickly.
People, like, subscribe, share, comment. iBoxingHub, stay weighed in. The crew's here. Abbas, take it away.
Until next time, guys, love and